Hi everyone, welcome back to another WIP and chat. I know I haven't done them much at all. It's just been a complete whirlwind. I swear I have like the weirdest luck. I don't want to say I have bad luck. There's people with way worse things going on in life than me. But yeah, I swear like every time I get on the roll with like doing WIP and chats or anything, I come back to tell you guys the most insane stories. So, a lot has happened over the last week. Yes, you heard me. 7 days, a lot has happened. However, things have been happening anyway, which is why I haven't really been doing WIP and chats. I kind of was focusing more on some evergreen content. But I do, as I was doing my evergreen content, by the way, if you're new to that term, it just means content that's kind of stays relevant for forever, technically, but not really. So, yeah, I was having fun doing that, but then I kind of missed that personal chat and connection. And I had meant to keep the WIP and chats going, despite some of the trolls I've been dealing with. However, after talking to a few fellow creators, I've decided I am just going to ignore it and keep going and do WIP and chats. And then also, I'm not going to delete the troll comments anymore. So if y'all leave your troll comment, I'm going to leave it there for everyone to see. Because I think that was part of it. I was just constantly trying to shield subscribers from people's negativity. But if people want to be negative, mean little Nancy's, I'm going to just leave it up there. I might even pin it. But yeah, so, where to begin? Well, it's the beginning of October. And at the beginning of beginning of any month since starting my Etsy store is busy. And there's a few reasons. First is I always have a limited edition scent every month for diamond painting wax and diamond painting putty. I will be taking sips of my pumpkin spice latte, and you guys know I don't like to edit, so you will have to just deal with that. So yeah, I have my limited edition scent. This month is caramel apple. Oh, it smells so good, but I gotta tell you, when I sat there and made all the putty and wax for that, my house, it was bad for the diet, because that's all I smelled is caramel apple for like 48 hours. And then I also have my limited edition Diamond Painters box. It comes with a custom tray that I collaborate with another Etsy seller on, so it's kind of fun and cool. 2 small businesses. And then I have the limited edition scent in there, a cover minder, wax melts. And this month, I decided to do a choose your wax melt out of some themed scents. So just added a little more work. But yeah, so the end of the month and into the first week of the month is crazy because I'm fulfilling tons of orders, packing boxes, because everyone's waiting for that box to release. In fact, I only think there's 5 left now. And I had done more boxes this month. And yeah, I think we're down to 5 now. So they're selling out fast. The day it released, I sat down, it was Sunday, because I released it on the 1st of the month. It was like 7 a.m. my time. I clicked publish, and I literally got up, grabbed my cup of coffee, came back, and 5 had already sold. I was like, wow, okay. But it's because I know a lot of people have been waiting for it to drop, and because I only do so many, you do have to snag them. I mean, I'm filming this on the 4th of the month. I don't know when I'll get it published, but yeah, we're already down to just 5 left, and I had increased it to 30 total this month. So that's a lot of rambling. But it's keeping me busy, and I'm not complaining. I appreciate every order. I'm also getting more wax melt orders, so that makes me like excited because I really enjoy making wax melts. It's kind of like an art. It's really fun to make smell goods. So yeah, I'm excited. It's getting busy and whatnot, and it needs to get busy because as I had mentioned a few times, my job has been kind of just sitting there hanging because, AI came around and really hit our industry hard, and I was just kind of waiting for, everything to shut down at work because, let's face it, my company I work for does content, and AI does content for free. And while AI is no replacement for a human, I'm not gonna lie to you, it can do a lot. So I decided, because things were just kind of stringing along, I was starting to get really unhappy, and it's just, I was working part-time, so just 25 hours a week, but the 25 hours were like scattered throughout the day, so like do an hour here, hour there, so you felt like you were working all day, but you aren't, and you're not getting paid for full time. And then on top of it, I'm taking on side projects for freelance to make up the income, so I end up working more hours than I should. And like I've been unable to do as many videos, and like I haven't been able to focus on my Etsy store as much as I want. So I decided to give them my notice because it's just kind of dragging out. And even if, say, the industry picks back up and revives, that's great, but I'm not happy in it. I'm just not happy in my job. In fact, project management, I enjoy. I'm really good at it because I think honestly it's because I have OCD, so I'm just hyper aware, hyper organized, and all that. And I enjoyed the project management side, but as of late, the job had just started turning into something that didn't make me happy. And I've been cranky and taking it out on the kids, my husband, everybody, basically anyone in my presence, because I just felt kind of lost and just miserable, waking up every morning just like, oh, I gotta go do this. So I put in my notice, even though they haven't shut down. I have no job plans right now. Instead, I am going to be focusing on my Etsy and some side projects I've wanted to work on, my channels. No, I'm not going to make a full-time living off my channel. It just meant like I'd be able to do what makes me happy. And yeah, I've always done freelance work. This is the longest time I've ever worked for the same company, and the first time in a long time I've been an employee. Last time I was an employee, like an actual, like, by the IRS standards employee, was when my son was 4 months old, and he turns 15 next month. So if that gives you an idea. But I've always enjoyed freelance. It's something it's my style. And so yeah, I'm going back to being in charge of me, being my own boss, sort of. I laugh when people say that because, you are your own boss, but yeah, you still have clients, and technically, in a way, you work for them, so they are sort of your boss. But you have a lot more freedoms. I don't have to wake up at 8 a.m. and make sure people submitted their assignments that they should have, or deal with this and that. Just a lot of pressure off me, and especially with a company that I know isn't going to grow, or at least has nothing in the future for me. And I think that's what was making me miserable. Excuse me, take a sip of coffee. I think that's what was making me miserable, was the fact that I knew I was working for something that was going to kind of just go away. And it's really hard to stay motivated when you know something is going to go. Like, you're basically just sitting there waiting for time to go by until, things go away, but also you kind of have like this, well, what the heck am I working my butt off for mentality? And I hate that, because then I'll find myself slacking or something, and that's not like me. But it's just the fact that, you know, my brain is like, dude, don't stress yourself out over something that's going away. And so it just started to kind of egg on more and more, and that's why finally I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna call it quits now for my own mental health, and just see where it goes. So yes, I put in my notice. It's really weird. I mean, like I said, I used to always be a freelancer, but for the last few years, I've had just a steady paycheck. I've been feeling like I should quit for a while now, so that I could invest those 25 hours into me, meaning just something that I want to do for a living. But yeah, it was just hard because I got so used to that super awesome steady paycheck that my brain kept saying, no, don't do it yet. Wait till this time. And then finally this week, with everything else going on in my life, I just kind of got to the point where I realized, no, this is the best move for me and my family. So yeah, I'm on a new journey now. And speaking of what happened, so my son had a soccer game on last Saturday, and he is a striker, or plays striker. If you're not familiar with positions in soccer, don't worry. It took me a while to figure it out. And my kid plays soccer, but the striker is on the attack team. They're usually the ones that score the goals. Not always, but that's their primary job. They're up there ready to receive a pass and shoot that thing into the goal. However, they are also one of the highest prone to injury positions, because not only are they in a zone where it is quite often you get slide tackled, and that's where the player literally slides on the grass and cleat first, which ow, but they're trying to get the ball from you. If they actually cleat the player, that's illegal and you get flagged. But the player could trip over their own feet when they get slide tackled. You can get just body chucked by a defender, and the defenders are always huge. So yeah, it's a high injury prone position. And my son has been hit and knocked down quite a bit. However, this go around, he was charging the ball because it was on the ground, so he was pressuring the goalie, because in soccer, until the goalie's hands are on the ball, that ball is still in play. Once the goalie's hands are on it, you better not go anywhere near it. But it was on the ground, so he was charging for the ball and going to try and kick it in. And, it's basically him and the goalie running towards the ball. And the goalie probably realized if he were to pick it up, he was going to get kicked in the face. So instead, the goalie decided to rush the ball and kick it full force from the ground. And my son was running at him at the time, and the ball, full force kick, went right into his face, knocked him backwards. And the force was so strong that the ball actually bounced off his face and went all the way over to the next field. So that's how hard of a hit it was. I mean, it sounded like a gunshot, the ricochet. He was knocked backwards, knocked out. And so, by the time they got over to him, he was bleeding everywhere, blood coming out of his nose, his mouth. Thank goodness he just got his braces out, because this could have been way worse. It's still pretty bad, but it could have been even worse. But yeah, so his nose was bleeding. I mean, he was swollen instantly. We all thought his nose was broken for sure. Concussion, yeah. So rushed him to the ER. And yeah, concussion, broken nose. And we didn't realize how bad the concussion was. They did a scan. There was no brain bleed, so thank goodness. But when we went to our concussion specialist, because we have to, man, they take concussions like seriously now, which is good. But like even his sports league, he can't go back to the game until he's been signed off. And so many things have passed, certain symptoms go away. And then with school, they actually have a concussion protocol in place because everything is on screens. And when you're recovering from a concussion, you were strictly told not to use screens. So he was like, how do I do my homework? So I called, him in sick, and they said, oh, no worries. We have a concussion protocol. In fact, I'm going to the school later today to give them all the paperwork signed by the doctor. And basically a teacher will come to our house and instruct him for 1 or 2 hours, coordinate with all of his teachers, and see what he can do, see what assignments can just be skipped, and he be given a passing grade on them no matter what. And then like for exams, they'll try doing like oral exams or something just to keep him from looking at the screen. So it's pretty cool. They have all that stuff in place. But when we went to get him checked out, after the initial injury, he wasn't sensitive to light. But once we went to the doctor, which is a few days later, he's sensitive to light. And it turns out it's because both sides of his brain have a contusion. So up in the front and in the back. And the front is obviously from the ball to the face. The back is from his head whipping backwards so quickly from the impact. So he got like a whip. He literally has whiplash like you get in a car accident. But now he also has a contusion on the back of his brain because his brain smacked so hard. I mean, it's nuts. So they have him out of school and on recovery till the end of the month, and that is temporary. The doctor said it may actually go longer, or it may like go even shorter. I guess I've never dealt with this before, but they said concussions are just incredibly hard to predict, and some kids will like just bounce back and be like, I'm healed, and like, really fast, whereas others take a little longer. So they can't really predict how long the recovery time is going to be. But for now, till the end of the month, he's out. And yeah, he's not very happy about it. Not that I blame him. I would be happy about it. And then of course, he'll be like, I was doing the one thing I was supposed to do, or my position, and this is what I get for it. I was like, yeah, sorry. I mean, that part. But he's okay. It's just going to be a long recovery. But he's basically out the rest of the fall season, we realized, because their last game, he might not even be able to attend. It just depends. It's all up in the air. So yeah, because of that, I've had appointments all week, and with the work I was doing, it was just becoming too much. One, they were expecting me to do all of this stuff with limited time, and even when I would ask for more hours, they would say no, but they still wanted everything done. Me having to go to appointments was a problem, but my job has always been supposed to be flexible. And so finally, the other day when they were piling more and more on me, I realized, you know what, I'm miserable. Like, I should be able to, I haven't taken a day off in like forever. I've never taken a day off working for this client, and as an employee, never taken a day off. Even when I travel, I still work. When I'm sick, I work from bed. I just never took a day off. And so when I was sitting there like, gosh, I should be able to take a day off to help my son or take him to his appointments. And, all these appointments are overwhelming. Checking on him every hour to see his status, making sure he doesn't have headaches, or his headaches are under control, or his whiplash pain is under control. Like, I should be able to take a day off and just deal with that, because that's a lot. But to work on top of it and then be, be kind of like treated as if you're being an inconvenience because your kid got a concussion, it just finally pushed me over the edge. And so that's what made me submit my 2 weeks notice. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really, really nervous as I typed it. I had once typed one a few weeks ago and then I deleted it. I was like, nope. But I typed it out, reread it 1.5 million times. And then when I sent it in, it was like freedom. I don't know how else to put it. The biggest weight came off my shoulders. And I'm not nervous about, the fact that, I gave up a very high paying salary. I'm totally at peace with it. And that tells me that it was a good idea. So yeah, it was just kind of crazy. It's like an end of an era. Plus I turn, yes, I'm going to age myself right now. I turned 40 in January. Oh my gosh. 40 is the new 20, right? That's what people have told me. So yeah, I turned 40, and I think the hardest thing is I don't have a career anymore. I had a career. I was the director of operations. I was doing a lot of, I had a fancy title and a salary, and now I got nothing. So I'm is this a midlife crisis? I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely not sure what I want to do. I'm certified to do project management. I could go apply. There's tons of project management jobs out there, and operations management jobs out there, but I don't want to do them. I looked and I found plenty. I even found some online that paid even better than the place I'm leaving, but I would sit there, fill out the resume or whatever, and I sat there I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit there and this be my career. Of course, at the same time, I'm sitting there what do I want to be my career? So, yeah, I am trying to figure that out, and obviously got to figure that out fast because I have a family to support. I was originally just going to write it out till the company ended up closing, but I was talking to my husband after I had spent 2 hours that day at doctor's appointments and specialists and filling out paperwork and doing all this. And I told him how frustrated I was, and I said, you know what, I want to give them my notice. I'm just done. And, I figured he'd be no, write it out, because that's what he normally says. And I'm yeah, you're right. That's a smart thing to do, right? Because, well, when you're an adult and you have kids and bills, you can't just be bye, job. I could have back in the day if I didn't have kids or a monster mortgage, but surprisingly, he was well, why don't you just do it? And so it caught me off guard, and I was oh, so you'll be okay with this? So yeah, I just did it and ripped off the Band-Aid. No more things dragging it out. No more constantly feeling I'm in limbo. Am I going to have a job next month? Or, am I going to get more stuff tacked on that's really not my job, but I'm filling all these roles, there's no more limbo. Yeah, I don't have a job right now, and I don't know, well, I do till my notice runs out, but I don't have a path after that. But it's not the same as just sitting there knowing something is going to go away and kind of just waiting for it to happen. It's kind of a dreadful little thing to do. Now it's yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's completely on me. It's on my terms. It's not on someone else's terms. And that's typically how in the past I've always thrived and worked. So I'm embarking on a new journey, we'll say, trying to figure out what I want to do. I definitely want to keep working with my Etsy store. Things have been going really well with my Etsy store, believe it or not. I'm honestly surprised. And then, of course, just grateful. And honestly, I started that store just on a whim. Like I was getting into diamond painting. I didn't like the pink wax or the blue or the purple or whatever. It's all the same. But and so I had started buying, other putties and waxes from people, but like either they would be one, just too strong of a smell. Like I'm sensitive to smells though, so I'm not knocking these people. I'm just sensitive. But also they didn't work exactly how I like to diamond paint. I'm a hard presser. Maybe it's nerves. I don't know. Take it out on the drills. But yeah, I just couldn't find one that suited me exactly. So that's why I started making my own. And then a friend of mine was like, why don't you just sell it on Etsy? And I'm like, okay. So I threw it up on Etsy, honestly expecting no sales, like at all. So when someone bought it, I was like, oh, okay, someone's going to try this. And then I was nervous as hell. Like, oh, so they're going to hate it. Like, I'm going to get 0 stars or something. And, a lot of nerves. But people have been liking it. The limited edition boxes just came to me one night, and I thought it would be really fun to do. Kind of like almost like a subscription box, but you don't actually get sucked into a subscription. Like, you just buy that month's box, and no month will repeat itself either. So soon I'm gonna have to start getting really creative with colors and ideas. But yeah, I just didn't realize it would kick off, and it has, and I'm enjoying it. I will say when I'm doing a ton of wax melts in one day, at first it's fun. But by the end of the day, I do get a headache because my house just has an array of scents. However, now that I've gained or given myself back 25 hours a week, I don't have to sit there and crunch, 40 orders worth of wax melts in one day and give myself a migraine. I can do them throughout the week. It's just basically better planning and less having to plan around the big obstacle. So that part kind of makes me excited because I'm able to do things the way I want. I can go revamp some of my listings now. Like, I have a huge to-do list. I have tons of other products I want to release too. I just haven't had the time, but now I will. So yeah, I want to get on that. There's tons of videos I want to record, and now I have time for that. In fact, one of the projects I want is, with my wax melts especially, is I want to get some more fun scents out there, and I've been testing one. Ooh, I did just come out with baby powder. It is so good. And I'm not tooting my own horn. Like, I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it's so clean and fresh smelling. It's like snuggling a freaking newborn. So I'm really excited about that one. It's actually burning in my house right now, and I'm just like, oh, it's beautiful. And it's not overwhelming, but it's definitely baby powder. But I don't know, there's something about it. It's hard to put a finger on what it is exactly, but yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah, if you like baby powder, go check that out. I am going to be revamping my listings and start separating them into categories, because right now everything's just kind of bunched into a single listing. And I know it confuses people, and it confuses the heck out of me sometimes. So that was one of my projects. So I'm going to do that. But yeah, it's just been a crazy week. I mean, between my son being injured and then me just ripping that Band-Aid off and being like leaving my job. it's interesting, that's for sure, but exciting, I think. I don't know. Maybe next week I won't feel so relieved. Reality will hit soon. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm going to just do those things and color or diamond paint or paint. I'll finally have more time to, do content on my other channels. Oh, speaking of which, I didn't even tell you what I was working in. Oh, sorry, camera. So if you watched my completed pages, I mentioned this was a WIP. This is Country Farm Scenes by Teresa Goodridge. I'm just doing this whole page in Derwent Graphitent. And I had initially started it for my silent coloring channel, but I don't feel like doing it on that channel anymore. So I'm going to start a new project on that channel. Mainly because with Graphitent, what I do is, I get the colors down, activate them, but I go back over with a dry color, not always the same color either, but that's when I add like some shadows or some little extra tidbits here and there. I have a whole video on how to use Derwent Graphitents, or what you're supposed to do, because they're not supposed to be used just wet. Like the whole point is you can activate them and get that color, but also you should be going over them dry to add texture, because they're not watercolor pencils, they're a water-soluble graphite. So yeah, they do have kind of a weird little learning curve at first. Very limited palette. It's 24 colors. I do have the Stedler ones, which are really bright, and I also have the Spectrum Noir ones, and they add a few extra colors that the Graphitent just doesn't have. But yeah, I just decided I didn't want to do this one on camera anymore, probably because I knew it was going to take a while. The pages don't go as quick when I'm using Graphitent because I gotta wait for something to dry and then kind of like go back, and so yeah, like it does take a little bit longer. And I don't know, I also just felt like laying in bed and coloring this page. So maybe that was part of it, I don't know. But it's fun to use these, like, you get down that base coat and then you kind of just go over them nice and smooth, do whatever you want. No rules, really. They're quite relaxing, and the palette of these graphite type pencils is perfect for fall, because really the color palette is quite muted, but has like that autumnal feel to it. So I tend to use them more around this time of year anyway. Where is that sage color? I did not put these back in order when I put them away the last time, but yeah, so I'm just working on this page, and then, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to start next. I have a diamond painting that I'm also working on that is super cute. Go over to my diamond painting channel if you're not subscribed already and check it out. It's a new release from Dreamer Designs, and it's perfect for Halloween. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I was going to kit it up on camera, but I was too excited to haul everything up here. So I kitted it up, and I'm going to work on that later today as well. And then I have a bunch of orders to pack, and I also still have to work. It's a busy day, and I have to go to my son's school and get him signed out for the rest of the quarter, basically. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I've been staying busy no matter what because all my kids' sports, but I guess at the moment, I'm the one that took up the most time won't be taking up any time, and that actually kind of makes me sad, because I know he's really upset that he's out for the season most likely. And then of course it's going to be really hard when you don't play at all for a while, and then got to get back in the game, so he's going to have to practice a bunch and get back into it. And yeah, so it's going to be a little bit harder for him to just return if he's been out of practice and stuff. And then I don't even know. What's scary is, so he'll miss the rest of this season, which is outdoor, but he'll be coming back for indoor. Of all freaking things, indoor soccer is very rough, very violent. It's actually legal to push a player or shove them into the glass, because it's kind of like an enclosed hockey, like an ice rink, but with, turf. And there's practically no rules. There's very few rules. Like, you can't like punch someone, but you can shove them into the plexiglass. You can, aggressively body slam them. And yeah, and that's what my son will be coming back from concussion leave and playing. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be insane. So yeah, every time he gets shoved into the plexiglass, I'm probably going to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, can't watch. But, oops, I grabbed a little of that red, but that's okay. But yeah, I used to be like, oh, we got another soccer game, I don't feel like going. But now I'm like, oh shoot. It kept us busy, but it's something my son enjoys, so I know it's hurting him to not do it. My schedule, trust me, appreciates the little break, but still, I don't want to have a break due to these circumstances. Well, I think that's about all I'm going to do here today. I think it's turning out cute. I haven't decided what color I want to do, like the barn and stuff. I'm going to probably mix in some of my other graphite pencils, because like I said, these have some great colors, but I want a few of the different greens that come across the other sets. And then kind of like those olivey colors. There is no yellow in these graphite type pencils across all the brands, but that's because it's something that can't be made. The graphite would actually overtake the yellow, but yeah, that's why they kind of have these muted dull colors, but they look so cool. I don't know, there's just something about them, the finish they make, it's very rustic. But yeah, so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, whatever day it is that I actually post this, and until next time, take care. Bye now.